So recently, I had the honor of mixing the song Hold the Faith by Tosh and Projexx, and I'm going to take you inside the session so we could take a look at it.
Before,
Up for another showdown.
More time you have it. Brush off and start up again. From you have
after,
Up for another showdown.
more time you have it. Brush off and start up again. From you have
so let's check out the session and see what is going on. So I was happy to be able to have all the stems. So we got piano, all of the instruments going on here. So what I did was, of course, group them together. Group the bass together. There's a few bass instruments here. Group the kicks together. There's a few kicks here. The kicks and also the drums together separately. I do my kick and drum separate. And then I put them to all these buses. I route them to these buses here. So kick, bass, drums, 808 melodies. And then that goes to an instrumental track. And then that goes to some, let me show you here. So all of my separate instruments go to their own individual buses that relate to them. And then that goes to an instrumental track. And then there's some parallels here. And then it goes to an instrumental all track. So let me just review some of the stuff that I put on here. So looking at like the kick bus first, I used the Voice of God plugin, which is like a sub-harmonic plugin that really works to bring the bass out of some things. I love that plugin. I use the black box. I use the lo-fi at 0.1. And I use the F6. You're going to see the F6 a lot in this mix. For the bass, I used the CLA bass here. I just used a little bit of compression and a little bit of on the roar setting distortion. Just add a little bit of harmonics on it just to make it pop out a little bit more. On drums, I used the Orion plugin. This plugin has a bunch of things. If you guys are not familiar with it, I love this. I always use this on drums. But I put the saturation on, EQ, and a little bit of the grit parallel. And I use this EQ to cut a little bit of the lows before 55 and under. I cut it. It was a little bit too much because there was a lot of bass in this instrumental, which this instrumental is amazing, by the way. So shout out to the producers. Really, really great production. And I have the F6 again, taking out some of the low ends. Here, I'll show you guys. Let me play it on a part where the drums are actually playing. Let's find it.
All my dreams, and where do I
Right here.
sleep? Cause my thoughts are coming away too fast. My soul screams cause it's tired of arguing with
without
the
it?
past. I know that you're not real, so why is it?
The Orion is really great for drums. Shout out to Jason Joshua. The Punctuate, this just helps with some transients. And then a saturator to just make it a little bit more heavy. And then on the melodies, I also use some things from the Orion again. This plugin's mainly, it's meant for drums, but I sometimes use it for different things. I use the harmonic and the sub parallel just to make it more, pop out more. I use the F6 again, a dynamic. So I use the F6 a lot because it's a dynamic EQ. So the difference between dynamic EQs and regular EQs is that it affects the actual dynamics of something when you use it. So it makes it jump out a little bit more at you rather than a regular EQ. You're just hearing the frequency. This is actually jumping out at you a little bit more. And then I use the Spectre plugin. This is one of my favorites, so I use a little bit. It's a harmonic EQ. I use a little bit to left and right just for the stereo image. And then this control plugin also to widen the stereo image a little bit more. So I'll play it so you can hear what it sounds like off.
Sleep, cause my thoughts are coming away too fast. My soul screams cause it's tired of arguing with the past. I know that you're not real, so why does it get me down? It's me and feeling up for another shoulder.
Now, I should probably point out that I routed the kick, the bass, and the drums to this parallel track right here, where I have this MV2 plugin and I have a clipper on it. So just to make it hit a little bit more, and then all of that's routed to my my instrumental all over here. This other parallel as well, which has a time cube. It's a delay plugin, again, just to make it wider. And I use that, right here. The melody bus, I put there just to add a little delay on all of the instruments to make it just a little bit wider. And then skipping, so these are the vocal individual tracks. I use the Auto-Tune Pro. So whenever I receive a session from clients, I try not to change their settings. It's very important because they usually have it how they like it in the room when they're recording. So I try to respect their settings. So they might have had a different plugin on there, like a different version of Auto-Tune. I use the Pro because it sounds a little better sometimes, especially when you take off this low latency setting. When you're actually mixing, it sounds a little bit better. So I use that, and there are the actual plugins on here. So yeah, on the individual tracks, it's mainly just Auto-Tune. On some of them, you see I'll have a doubler, and then there's actually deverb on some of the tracks. So the reason why I did that is I usually like to route my reverbs, but they left it like that. They had it like that, and there was a sound to it that I didn't want to disturb. This is for a lot of the backups. I didn't really want to disturb the sound that they already had going. So on the actual vocal buses here, we got REQ, we got RVox, we have CLA, we have the C6, a de-esser, and we have the Pultec EQ, another de-esser, and Spectre. So let's see how that sounds.
Sleep, cause my thoughts are coming away too fast. My soul screams cause it's tired of arguing with the past. I know that you're not real, so why does it get me down? It's me and feeling up for another showdown.
More time you have it, rush off and start up again. From you I've got you away now. Defeat the anxiety, strong by your feet. Wow, what you feel now? Rush off and start up again. From you I've got you away now. Defeat the anxiety, strong by your feet. Wow, what you feel now? I know for the week, I feel say a prayer for me touch the street. When a friend know what me at.
So I actually have this SSL as well, and I'm making it a little bit brighter here in the EQ, and I'm also compressing just a little bit with just a little bit more than a 2-to-1 ratio around there. And all of these sends down here are all going to these right here. There's a double with a doubler on there. There's a parallel, so I always parallel my vocals to an 1176. And there are some reverbs on here. I believe they had this on here. Again, sometimes when they send me mixes, Sometimes I tend to leave their reverbs on there if I feel like it contributes to the sound, because it's my job to enhance what they have, not to change everything. You want to, a lot of times the clients, they like how it sounds when it leaves the studio, so you don't want to change the vibe. You want to enhance it. Early reflections. And I do have so all of these reverb and delays I sent to my complete effects channel, and I did compress it a little bit. I guess I felt like I wanted it to be brought out a little bit more. And then of course I have the God particle on my master here.
Sleep, 'cause my thoughts are coming away too fast. My soul screams 'cause it's tired of arguing with the past.
So when I look at this, I do try to see if I can stay within the meters and how it sounds, but also I don't let it my ears ultimately is going to make the final decision. If something is past a meter or it's way up here past these green target areas, sometimes I don't care. Sometimes I let it ride, because your ears are always going to be more important than your eyes in this. So I have my reference tracks here that I use to make sure I was good with the volume and the dynamics and everything, and also my meter here to check my LUFs here. So I always try to go, around -8. But ultimately, I think personally, maybe we shouldn't care about this so much, because at the end of the day, it's about the vibe of the song. But, we don't want it to be too low. I try not to. It's important to compete somewhat, even though the streaming platforms turn down our mixes. It's important to compete with what other songs are averaging at. So around -8 is usually my average.
Sleep, 'cause my thoughts are coming away too fast. My soul screams 'cause it's tired of arguing with the past. I know that you're.
Okay, so that's all the technical stuff. I'm just going to show you some of the fun stuff really quick, because it's fun to get creative at these times. These are my little echoes and throws. So I do them actually on the track. I used to use sends, but ever since I saw Jason Joshua do it like this, I started doing it like this again, actually copying what I want to echo and actually putting it on a different track and echoing it. So I have a delay. I have a pan to make the echo go wider. I have a Space Rider plugin, which is adding like a cool chorus effect and a reverb to it. I got a little more reverb. I wanted it to sound really spaced out. And a filter gate. I think I automated this on some of them, it looks like. So we'll check that out in a second. Yeah, so to start up again. This one too. I did a little reverse here, so I EQ'd it a bit, put some little effects on there, panner, filter gate.
I feel say a prayer for me touch his street. When a friend know you a go feed, but that a part of the dream.
Yeah, so if you can hear how that delay sounds kind of choppy, that's what the filter gate does. So listen to it here. And without it, if I take it off. Yeah.
But that a part of the dream. Them can't stop it. I feel make God take you in. Mommy guide and shit. More time you have to brush off and start up again.
From you up, God, you a winner.
I also added some reverb down here to just make her tracks some of her was a little bit spacey. So instead of putting on all of her vocals, I put it on a different channel to make it specific to the parts that I want. You know what I mean?
Strong on your face.
Well,
You away. Lift me the anxiety.
it's strong, it's strong. No, no, no.
Stay strong, stay strong.
Yeah, guys, and that's pretty much it. So I hope you enjoyed and hope you got something out of it. And I will see you on the next one.